I just put up this report on Low Kick MMA, and I think this is a very interesting stat. This past Saturday night's UFC Fight Night 101 was the third lowest rating of 2016 for UFC events on Fox Sports 1. That event averaged 686,000 viewers, which is down from the last UFC Fight Night event, which was Fight Night 100, that did 769 viewers. The prelims for UFC Fight Night 101 did 532,000 viewers. That was for Fight Night 100. So Fight Night 100 did 532,000 viewers, while Fight Night 101 did 654,000 viewers. The post-fight show did 199,000 viewers. I think this speaks to too many events. And this is coming from a guy who makes a living by covering mixed martial arts, and especially the UFC. You have other promotions, but the UFC is the biggest promotion out there in terms of mixed martial arts. And they have this huge TV rights contract with Fox Sports, and they basically air weekly events on Fox Sports 1, because for Fox Sports 1, other than college football and NASCAR, UFC is pretty much the driving force behind their ratings. Other than that, most of their shows don't do very well. It's in the low 100,000s or below. So, they have to have that content, and the UFC provides that, but the problem is you only have so many stars. While the UFC has over 300 fighters, they don't have many stars, and you can't put the likes of, Daniel Cormier, John Jones, when he's available, Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm, and the list goes on, of major pay-per-view headlining stars that generates a lot of pay-per-view revenue. You cannot put those on these Fox Sports 1 shows. And if you notice, they don't really put those fighters on the big Fox events anymore. They always run 4 big Fox events per year. And as time has gone on, they kind of devalued the big Fox cards more and more and more. And this past Saturday night's event, UFC Fight Night 101, it was an okay card, but it didn't, I cover MMA for a living, obviously. I know all the fighters, but in terms of the casual viewer or even the hardcore viewer, they may not know nor care about the main event. And anything in terms of sports, what is your main event? Especially in combat sports, right? Boxing, mixed martial arts, K1, so stuff like that. You have to have a good main event. And while I'm a fan of Darren Brunson and I'm a fan of Robert Whittaker, that's just not a drawing main event. And I think the numbers show that. I also think by the UFC and Fox Sports generating so many events per year, back in the day, and I'm talking about a decade ago, UFC ran 1 pay-per-view a month, maybe 1 Spike TV event, maybe 2, maybe not even. And so that made not only the hardcores tune in, but it made the casual viewer to tune in. Hardcores love MMA. They can't get enough of MMA. But the problem with the hardcores is, and including myself, if we don't like a fight and there's so much product out there, then we're going to start to pick and choose which fights we watch. And I think that shows in the viewership. The UFC is coming up on a contract year in terms of their TV rights and distribution in 2018. They have several bidders, including ESPN, TNT, and Turner, and Fox. Personally, I would like to see them remain on Fox because ESPN has so much programming that I think the UFC wouldn't benefit from their coverage. And their numbers are down as well. TNT and Turner, they've never really done combat sports. Sure, they've run a couple boxing events here and there, but for the most part, they're not savvy to the combat sports genre. Fox has done a very good job of taking in the UFC and saying, hey, you guys are way bigger than us. let's do something here. You help us. The UFC does not need FOTS. FOTS Sports needs the UFC, and especially on FS1 just because of their piss poor numbers in terms of ratings. The problem is there's too much product out there. From a business standpoint, I love that. But from a casual to hardcore fan standpoint, it's too much product and the numbers are killing it. It was the third lowest rating of 2016 for UFC events on Fox Sports 1. Think about that for a minute, y'all. But not to fear, the UFC returns this Saturday night for the Tough 24 finale, or the Tough Champions finale, whatever you want to call it. Demetrius Johnson defends against the winner of that tournament. He has ran through the division so bad that they have to get a fighter from a tournament show, a reality show, a show that no one really watches. They're breaking historical ratings in terms of lows on that show this season. Anyway, so if you need your fix, the UFC's got it fixed up. I'm going to be pumping out 2 Bellator previews, as well as a preview for this Saturday's Tough 24 finale as well. So check that out. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you won't miss another audio update.